Ooh. Hey, everybody, welcome to this edition of the Potomac Local News Podcast. I am Uriah Kiser. I'm the publisher of Potomac Local News. Joining us today is someone that you read on our site often, Mike Salmon, who is joining us from Fredericksburg, and Dalton Okolo. He is the organizer of the Fredericksburg Film Festival. And we're going to talk today about the city's emergence into the entertainment scene. Mike, you'll often read on PotomacLocal.com. He's always reporting on fun things that are happening around town. And of course, the Fredericksburg Film Festival, Mike's written about that. And Dalton is the organizer of that festival. And so I appreciate you both coming on to the podcast today. We've seen, it just seems like more and more each year we start reporting on more independent movies and films and entertainment projects that are happening in Fredericksburg. So I'll throw this out there. Is the kind of the city becoming, is it being noticed now? Is it growing into its own when it comes to a player in the indie film entertainment industry?
I think so. Is that for me or for Mike?
Yeah, throw that out there, Dalton. Take it.
Yeah. No, I definitely think so. I've lived in Fredericksburg for 2.5 years now. I love it, and I think it's a cinematic city. In the winter, obviously everyone knows it kind of turns into a Hallmark town. But just kind of moving through it, there are all these like wonderful shapes. As we're shooting all over town right now for our film, Virginia is for Lovers, and so it's a very easy city to work with in terms of locations. Everyone's always excited. When I was shooting up in Northern Virginia, it's much more expensive, but it's also much more restrictive. You can kind of just set up sticks wherever you want in Fredericksburg and shoot. But there's also a huge arts community. On our shoot, we had one this weekend. We were actually able to pull from the Luminary Theater Company for some of our extras. Mike was also on set as an extra, and so you wind up meeting people around town and working on their films and just chatting about movies with them, and that kind of inspires more work. And so yes, I would say Fredericksburg is absolutely a great movie city, and it seems to be growing. But I don't have a perspective beyond 2.5 years ago.
Mike, before I ask you what it's like to be an extra on a movie set, because I've never done that. Dalton, tell us a little about your movie. Did you say it's called Virginia is for Lovers?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Virginia's for Lovers. It's an 8-part episodic short. It's about these three couples whose lives oscillate around the hit and run death of a bank robber. So it's a little bit of drama, a little bit of action, a little bit of comedy. But we're shooting pretty much all over Fredericksburg.
Gotcha, gotcha. So, Mike, are you you've done some documentary films yourself, so and now you're kind of in front of the camera on some of these movies that you've been participating in. Talk to me about how you got involved in independent film in Fredericksburg.
Well, it seemed to start with the film festival last spring, and I met Dalton and I met another guy, Robert, and I was in his movie about 2 weeks ago called Angel in Hell, and I just showed up, and then he said, "Well, we need somebody down on the stretcher," so I played a wounded soldier, and put on this old uniform, and that was interesting. And then I got word that Dalton was filming one of the following mornings at a hotel, and so me and my neighbor showed up, and it turned out to be really interesting. I mean, to be an extra at this coffee shop, we had to act like we were talking and and we had to do that like 10 times. So it's a good thing we had a menu there so we could act like we're looking at the menu or something, because I started running out of stuff, but and I almost laughed. So,
Did you start to read the menu to each other as you kind of did you?
well, yeah, we pointed at it and act like we were interested in this and interested in that.
Talk to me about the Dalton. Talk to me about this film festival. I mean, it's I know we reported on it, and we know it's a growing thing. And when you think about artsy cities, obviously in Virginia, Richmond comes to mind. You have VCU there. You have a burgeoning art scene. It's probably greater than burgeoning. It just is an art scene in Fredericksburg. I'm sorry, in Richmond. But Fredericksburg also has University of Mary Washington. It is a college town. So talk to me about the film festival and how it's grown over the past few years.
Yeah. I'll kind of work backwards there. I totally agree with you. Richmond's a wonderful city, definitely an artsy town. And I think, Fredericksburg is the same in the sense of, you've got a lot of young people here who are excited about kind of working in the arts or just being a part of the arts. But you also have, a lot of people who are established artists or running galleries or just kind of looking for ways to contribute to the arts community. And so I think it's just a great mix that maybe you wouldn't think of in such a small town. But Fredericksburg Film Festival, to answer your other part of that question, is a festival we've been running for 2 years now. And the idea is really just to kind of, like we talked about, there's obviously a large film community here, and there's, I guess the best way to put it is, there's a lot of films that get made every year, whether they be shorts or features that are just never going to be seen the light of day, at least by, people in our community. And so what we wanted to do was, we established the festival last year and kind of create a space where artists and people who just like good movies can come and meet the filmmakers and hang out and watch movies that maybe they wouldn't have a chance to see or wouldn't have an exposure to. And so I think we've got about 100 or so submissions last year and a little less than the year before that. But it's really been picking up in terms of kind of local hype and local networking. It seems like a lot of the filmmakers I know in the area, Mike mentioned earlier, Robert Kenzie, who runs the Northern Virginia Motion Picture Co-op. It's wonderful, but that's a local Fredericksburg film co-op that I would have never known of if I had not, started the film festival and started bringing in people like Robert and kind of, other local members of the Virginia film community. So it's been cool to kind of see how it grows. It's certainly a learning experience for my life. I'm a filmmaker myself, and so I've been to festivals, but never had an idea of kind of the logistics of it together. So getting the team together for that has been great, and it's been a great experience, and it's been really cool to kind of see where it goes.
Mike, you're a curious guy, or else you wouldn't be a news reporter reporting for the local news. But obviously, in your filmmaking as well as you do documentary films, talk about some of the films that you've made, and talk about some of the ones that you think you could make in Fredericksburg. Because as you walk around and see new things all the time, I'm sure you're asking yourself new questions. So talk about some of the documentary films that you've made and your path into that.
Well, it all started in 1984. This movie we made called A Pack of Wimps Now, which was kind of a spoof of Apocalypse Now, but on a cheap budget. I mean, the most expensive thing we did was have to rent this beta camera out at this local video store, but and nobody had cell phones and whatever else. But then it's kind of grown from there, and I did a Kingstown Kingstown documentary about motorcycling in Kingstown, and that turned out to be a hit. And I won an award in Fairfax County. And then more recently, let me show you.
Oh, he's got props. He's going
Yep,
to his.
We're working on. Everyone talks about how Fredericksburg is hunted out as far as Civil War relics and stuff. So we heard that a few times. So we started doing, is Fredericksburg hunted out? So we were invited over to this one gentleman's house who actually, his metal detecting went back to the late 1950s. So, and he found a bunch of stuff, but he gave us a couple of
Oh yeah,
Civil
look
War
at
bullets.
those. Yeah, yeah.
And we were hoping, he was talking about, everyone talks about belt buckles. So we were hoping he was going to slide us a belt buckle, but no, no deal.
No covetous belt buckles for you that day. Well,
Yeah.
those bullets are pretty awesome. Most
Yeah.
recently, you've done bluegrass, and that is not something that one might associate with Fredericksburg, right? I mean, maybe at one point when we were still considered the Deep South, but there's been such an influence from Northern Virginia over the past 30, 40 years in Fredericksburg. But bluegrass still is strong in the city.
Yeah, it was big. I mean, we had a pretty easy time finding enthusiasm behind that, and of course, you had your natural soundtrack already, so it was fun to do, and we've learned a lot about it. And after that, we there was a couple that was putting together a deli, and that was pretty interesting to see exactly what they went through. And more recently, about the arts too in Fredericksburg, artists and lots of paintings. So, we hit all ends of the spectrum. So that was pretty interesting.
Yeah. Dalton, you said it's easy to set up sticks anywhere in the city and start shooting. And for those who may not be familiar with that, sticks, that's fancy term for a tripod. That's what we used to call sticks when I worked in TV anyway. And so when you think about Fredericksburg, there's obviously, I mean, the first thing you think of is Caroline Street because it is that nice city backdrop and it's a tree line, store line, mom and pop shop, restaurants. And so it's a very nice backdrop there. But what are some of the other places that people may not think that that's a potential movie set, in Fredericksburg when you get away from Caroline Street?
Ooh, it's a great question. We were just over at Ironclad Bar or Ironclad Inn this weekend shooting, and if you guys haven't been over there, it's a wonderful bed and breakfast. But they also have a bar kind of lounge setup in their basement area. We were able to use that for two separate setups, and it became like this very moody, dark atmosphere. And yeah, I think we were doing. I always get confused by the term of night for day or day for night. Anyway, we were shooting during the day, and we were making it look like night. We kind of blacked out the windows. We had a haze machine in there, kind of making it look like smoke. And then right after that, we had this kind of bright breakup scene, but it was shot right in the adjacent lounge, and so our entire grip, gaffer, camera team was able to flip over all the lighting setup just right there, which was really cool. So we got two stuff done in one day, and it was all free. Ironclad was very happy to have us. They provided costumes for the extras, so it was just something I don't really think I would find in a lot of other bigger cities or kind of surrounding cities where I just don't have that sort of community. Is Ironclad was for us at Fredericksburg Film Festival. They hosted one of our happy hours, and so that's how we got to know them. And then when we told them about the film, they were just equally as excited. So that was one place. And then you mentioned, I think you said Caroline Street. Sophia Street right next to it is beautiful. Everything at Riverfront Park is wonderful. I'm going out with a drone operator at some point this weekend and next week to go kind of see if we can get some sun ups and sundowns. So I guess really anywhere in the city, but also kind of right outside of it too. I'm terrible with directions, so I'm not great on roads. But Route 7, the more you drive down that is beautiful. So yeah, I think kind of all over Fredericksburg, if that answers your question.
Good, good. Yeah, I mean, because you have the river and you have the railroad,
Hmm.
and you have all of these historic homes. And I think it's great that you mentioned Ironclad, and I'll take credit because we broke the news that the Kenmore Inn would become Ironclad Inn, and of course, the Kenmore was a staple in Fredericksburg for years, and now Ironclad is operating a great business there. And you're absolutely right. Their bourbon tasting room, that whole downstairs of the Kenmore, well, the inn is what it is. It
Hmm.
still is an inn. It's awesome, and I never thought to shoot a movie there, but you obviously you did, and I can't wait to see it. When's your movie coming out?
That's a great question, man. It's one of those kind of prolonged post-production periods, is what I would say. So we have 3 weekends. We just shot our first weekend. We'll probably shoot another weekend sometime August, September, the last weekend, probably late September, early October. And then post-production, I would imagine, would take us all the way through to January. So maybe January, February, we do a premiere. It's kind of what we're looking at around now.
Yeah. So as we wrap up here, are you trying to push Fredericksburg as the up and coming place to shoot movies? Do you want more people to come here, whether it's shooting movies or doing, perform stage art or, are you trying to grow the scene or are you, I mean, obviously you're not trying to keep it a secret, else we wouldn't be having this conversation on a podcast today, but I mean, how big could it possibly get or how big do you want it to get?
I mean, I think people should just understand the versatility of it, right? You can go down to the riverfront and have a beach scene. You can go into town and have, an urban area to shoot in. You can go right outside of town and have a rural area to shoot in. Almost any of these businesses, or a lot of these businesses, I should say, will allow you to shoot in there if you just go in there and talk to them. So I just think that there's a lot of malleability, there's a lot of affordability, but there's also a lot of potential. And I think, kind of in a broader sense, Virginia, just as a state, is a wonderful state to shoot in. And so that would be my broader message: is yes, Fredericksburg, you should come here if you have needs that are specific to this type of city. But if you need just a good state to shoot in, Virginia is that state. We go to the beach, you can go into DC, you can go to Fredericksburg, you a small town, kind of get everything. And so I'd say localized Fredericksburg, yes, perfect. Hope to grow it. Virginia, same there.
How can people follow you and keep up with what you're doing, and of course the Fredericksburg Film Festival for more information on that?
Yes, you can follow us at 1108 Media on Instagram and Facebook. We're also 1108media.com. And then the Fredericksburg Film Festival, it should just be at FXBG Film Festival on Instagram and Facebook. Definitely, follow us, DM us. We love to interact and meet new filmmakers. And if you have a new film, the film festival is opening for submissions this Friday, actually tomorrow. So yeah, please submit your films. Please come out to the Fredericksburg Film Festival. We love meeting new filmmakers and film lovers.
And the festival takes place in the spring in Fredericksburg.
Yes, sir. So we're looking at moving it maybe into the early summer. We did it on Easter weekend this year, and a lot of people at Easter Sunday probably were like, yeah, but most of them were like, it's a little bit tough for us to get there, Sunday, Easter morning. So we're looking at moving it into maybe early June, late May type period.
Gotcha. And Mike, how can people follow what you're working on, your project, your documentaries, what movie set you're on this week? How can people find out more about it?
Well, I've got a YouTube page, and that's where most of our stuff goes. And I plan on entering the Civil War relic documentary in the film festival this coming spring. So hopefully we'll be able to get a face there, and they're welcome to contact me through the YouTube or email, or even call me. I'm always looking to do something else as far as as well as writing the stories and filming our relic thing. Yesterday, as a matter of fact, we interviewed the manager of Fredericksburg Battlefield Park, National Park Service, Beth Parnixa. And that was the last one, I think. So we're going to edit that all together and hopefully, maybe enter it in some contests and see where it goes.
That sounds great. Mike, Salmon, and Dalton, thank you for joining us on the Potomac Local News Podcast. And we'll talk to you guys next time.
All right.
Awesome.
Thanks
Really
for having
appreciate the time.